Hey guys, how's it going? It's me, Josh Halter, founder and owner of The BioDude. If you visit my website, www.thebiodude.com, check me out on Instagram, Facebook, and of course subscribe to my YouTube channel. And today I'm going to be setting up a bioactive terrarium for a Pac Man frog or a tomato frog. For me, it's going to be for a tomato frog. These large amphibians are pretty sedentary, so it's important to give them a substrate that allows you to give them a deep layer because they love to burrow since they're ambush predators. So I recommend using my handcrafted Terra Firma Bioactive Biodude substrate, and you do not need a drainage layer. The Terra Firma is designed to stay dry at the top layer but moist in the bottom layer while retaining all air pockets needed for essential bacteria growth as well as your essential growth of your live plants. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut open this bag. And I'm going to take some water. Just going to get this a little bit saturated for these guys. There we go. So, now we're going to take your Firma and you're going to dump it right in your tank. Like I said, I'm giving my frogs a nice deep layer because they love to burrow and they like to congregate in groups. At least the tomato frogs do. Pac Man frogs you should never keep together because they'll eat each other. Some tomato frogs might eat each other, but I've been keeping my group together for years. In fact, I intend to breed them at some point. And you're going to spread the substrate around so it's a nice, deep, even layer. Look at that. It's a nice moisture consistent too. So what you're going to notice is it's going to stay dry at the top, but moist in the middle and bottom. So, and then I'm going to take from their prior tank some of their old substrate, which is filled with tons of different springtails and isopods and leaf litter. And I'm gonna just put it in here at the very top. See how wet it is? So this was from the very bottom of the tank, excuse me, the middle of the tank, in the bottom, and I'm just gonna mix it all in there. This is gonna jumpstart the bioactivity aspect of this vivarium. This soil already has the BioShot in it, so that isn't going to be necessary. Okay, so we have our springtails and our isopods already established, which are your tank cleaners, which are essentially going to go through the soil, break down organic matter, put nutrients back into the soil. Your BioShot is going to be creating macronutrients utilizing mycorrhizal and archaea to allow your plants to grow faster, happier, and healthier. So the next thing that I'm going to figure out is where do I want their water source to be? For these guys, you have to give them a little bit larger of a water source. I always do. And the water dishes that I like to use, they're 128-ounce deli cups. A lot of people use them to display ball pythons in it at shows. Then I'm just going to put that right around here and kind of bury it so that way they can actually physically get in it. And then I'm going to put a piece of cork bark, in here for the crickets and of course for the frogs. They may be fat, but if they want to get out, they can get out. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add in one of my pieces of the core. I'm not going heavy with the core for this tank. I'm going more for simplicity and allowing them to feel the most comfortable. This is a piece of Malaysian driftwood. What I'm going to do, actually I'm going to put that. Yeah, I can deal. And then I'm going to take these already rooted bromeliads. Actually going to plant them in the soil because they're already established and rooted, and since the Sahara drains so well, right like that. I have to say that looks pretty nice. Next thing that I'm going to look at is how can I make it so that way they can have a bunch of tunnels or have the ability to feel secure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some cork bark, I'm going to bury it like I did in the ball python video. I'm going to create underground taverns. Except for this one, I'm really going to go deep. Like that at the very, very bottom. Okay, so then there's that layer. Then I'm going to do another layer. Like this. Okay? It's all about giving them the about giving them options, guys. Can't stress options enough. And then I'm gonna go like this. Just to give them an area back here. And I'm gonna cover that up like this. Put this small piece back here. I'm gonna break that. So these guys have a lot of different places to go. They have back here, they have under here, all of this, and all of this back here, and underneath the water dish. So plenty of places to go. Then I'm going to take some of my plants from their old environment, which is, I got some golden pothos right here. So I'm going to take some of the pothos, and I'm actually just going to put this right in here. After I fix this. So what's going to happen is the pothos will eventually latch onto this and spread upwards from here. But what I have right now, I'm actually going to jump start it. So I'm going to break it, and I'm going to put it like this. And this is going to cover up the water, and it's going to grow up the back. Then, I'm going to add some leaf litter. You can use oak or magnolia. I don't ever use a lot of leaf litter. I only use a little bit for these guys. Just because they're tongue eaters, like dart frogs, except they're big. So I always like to use larger leaves to prevent them from ingesting the leaves. If they ingest the leaves, I wouldn't be too concerned because it's plant matter. However, you always do run the risk of them eating some of the dirt, which a little bit of the substrate for them to eat is perfectly fine. But like with anything, as long as you're taking care of them and providing the proper husbandry, I don't foresee anybody having any problems if I've been doing this for years. Okay. Next thing I'm gonna do. Dun 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 dun. Fine. There you go. I know. What am I doing to you? Okay. There you go, guys. So the cool thing about tomato frogs, you make them mad, you rub their sides, they end up secreting a white sticky goo that you never ever want to ingest. You'll make it real sick. You know, so you want to make sure if you touch these guys, you're washing your hands real good before you touch your face. So you can see what I got going on right here. I feed these guys dubias, and I feed them crickets dusted with Repcal Pink Label and Herptivite to give them the essential carotenoids needed for vitamin absorption, as well as providing them a 78-degree gradient hot side and cool side. If you are going to use an under tank heater, you always want to put it on the side, because if water collects at the bottom, it will crack your tank if you have an under tank heater there. So guys, I want you to check this out. I know this is a more simpler setup, but I really do like it for these guys. Again, guys, my name's Josh Halter, founder of the Bio Dude. Visit me on Facebook, Instagram. Make sure to follow my YouTube channel. Visit my website. The Dude Abides.